I'm Gareth Davis. I am delighted to be joined by Oleksandr Krassyuk. Where are you, Alex?
Just came back from Poland.
And where are you
I'm
right
in
now?
I'm in Sofia now.
You're in Sofia. How is Ukraine right now?
Some bad news coming. They attacked in the region I was born, like I don't know, maybe 100 miles away from my home. They attacked the civilians. The bomb, the bomb exploded in the building, the house, the residential building. They more than 20 people died, 4 kids, 4 children. It's a nightmare what's happening. And for some reason, I don't know, why do they choose the civilian? I mean, why do they choose the residential buildings instead of military?
It's one
Difficult to
thing.
understand.
It's one thing to be involved. I just want to explain that I'm looking after my daughter's dog who's going to be in this video. I'm in Highgate in North London and he's barking, so I don't want him to bark all the time. It's one thing for us to talk about gladiators and fight sports, and it's a job and a profession and a sport, and it's a business. But it's another thing when human beings are taking other people's lives. I remember about a year ago, from their bunker in Kiev, I spoke to Vladimir and Vitaly, who I've known many years, having been involved in boxing a long time. And I remember, and I'll never forget this, Vladimir saying to me, and he's a beautiful speaker of English, and it's the anniversary today of his fight with Anthony Joshua, by the way,
Right,
at Wembley,
right.
which was an amazing event. And Vladimir saying to me, and Vladimir is a polyglot, he's a very cultured man. They both grew up in I would call them like diplomatic brats, you know? They grew up
Yep.
very privileged in Soviet sports schools. They are the most clever gentlemen in fight sports that I've ever met, if I'm honest. And they're both very upstanding people, and they will get world awards for what they've done during this war. I spoke to both Vitaly and Vladimir. I remember crying after the interview. We have Ukrainian people living in my village in Essex. I gave the video to the village when we raised money in the village. And Vitaly, he's so stoic, and Vladimir, who's the speaker, saying, you don't know in life till a thing changes in a moment how life can change. You just don't know.
That's true. That's very true.
And it stayed with me, Alexander. It has stayed with me. Because I've traveled around the world all my life, 40 countries, 100 cities. My father was in the foreign service. I was headed towards being a foreign news correspondent until I had children when I was 24, and it changed and I got involved in sport. I lived in China during Tiananmen Square. I lived in lots of different countries with my parents, Vienna, Moscow, Berlin, Warsaw during Jaruzelski's rule. I mean, so many different, Nigeria, so many different countries, and the world is a strange place.
Definitely.
And all we're talking about is two guys fighting each other in a ring for a business. How
Well, it
affected are
depends.
you by the Ukraine-Russia war?
Listen, I was born in the center of Ukraine. I lived my life, I studied in Ukraine. I studied Ukrainian culture because I am Ukrainian and I know the roots and I know the reason why these people are trying to attack us. And what stands behind it is in the history. I'm reading now a book. Let me show it to you. The book is called The Gates of Europe. This is a great, absolutely great story of Ukrainian history.
By Sergei.
Sorry, say it again.
It's written by Sergei.
Sergei Plokhy.
Yeah.
Sergei Plokhy. So it tells the story of current days Ukraine, nowadays Ukraine, from the times of
Peter the Great.
ancient times until now. And you normally study history at school, but at school when you study it, you are still a kid. You don't realize all the ups and downs. You don't realize the connection between the events. You don't realize the consequences. And when you are grown up and you suffered this on your own experience, and you do realize that it always happened. It's been the same throughout centuries. The war changed with peace, and then again the war. So what is happening now is not strange. It's just a territorial conflict where one country wants to gain the territory of the other country. And something has to stand behind it. And normally, as history says, a stupid human ego stands behind it. The egoism and the ego, the arrogance and the desire to feel yourself higher than other people. So that's normally the reason of the conflict. And when it goes so deep, like it's happening now in Ukraine, when just common people die for nothing, for no reason, when so many soldiers die, including Russians, they are motivated with the lies. They are motivated with the propaganda, but they are motivated. And they think they are doing good things, but they are convinced they are doing good things because they heard that from their leader. They heard that from their media, from TV stations. And they heard this from the street, from normal people who support all this. And this is a huge mistake of the whole nation, where everyone thinks that a normal thing, they consider it to be normal. And when such a huge support of the whole nation is for the war with a country that just has the border of hasn't got much in common, like church, like language is not the same. Every Ukrainian would understand Russian, but non-Russian would understand Ukrainian. And the reason for this is very simple. It's just one man's ego, one man's desire to become the emperor. Funny to see this happening
all
in
the way
the
back to
21st
Peter
century.
the Great.
Yep.
And let me bring it to boxing. Does Oleksandr Usyk know all this?
Not just know, but he is the one to act according to this knowledge. He knows what it is. He knows that Ukrainian culture is very precious for the world. He knows that Ukraine should be the place of where the new civilization has to be reborn. The capitalism has to change into some spiritual philosophy. So, and this is now happening in Ukraine, and Ukraine has to undergo these difficulties to become that strong, so the Western and the Eastern world could come together and join their efforts in the point where Ukraine is and work for better future. Not fight for better future, but work together.
Does that make him a very dangerous boxer in the ring?
His philosophy is he doesn't feel himself dangerous for other people. He feels himself very helpful for other people. He wants to help people. When he comes to the ring, it's his profession. So he has to fight and he has to win. But he doesn't have to hate his opponent. He loves his opponent. He respects him. And with a full heart of love, he hits him according to the rules. But he doesn't feel this anger. He doesn't feel like he's doing damage. No, his objective is to win. And the less damage he does to his opponent, the better. This is his philosophy. That's why he explained he did not knock out Anthony Joshua in the 12th round. He says, I'm winning on points. Why should his kids watch his father falling on the ring when enough is done to get the victory? That's his mindset.
I could talk to you about so many other things today because it's deeper than just talking about boxing in lots of ways. And, I get knocked for this, but we're on this planet together. We're on this planet together for who knows how long. I spoke to Amir Abdullah earlier this week.
Yeah.
And I've read your comments in different interviews this week. I think I need to ask 2 or 3 questions that will explain it. You sent me a text the other day to say you are in talks with Frank Warren and the Warren team at Queensberry for Oleksandr to defend his WBA mandatory against Daniel Dubois, potentially in the UK this summer. Is that ongoing at the moment?
We are on talks, not in the UK, but our priority now is Poland. And that's where I just came from. I had a wonderful meeting hosted by my brother from another mother, Andrzej Wasilewski, the Polish promoter whom I've been knowing for so many years, probably the whole career I've been in boxing. So we spent a couple of very fruitful days working on the possibilities, exploring how this can be done. And we are now very thirsty to bring in some new level of organization of boxing. It shouldn't be just the event. It should be the festival of brotherhood. It should be the festival of brothers and sisters across the borders. So we want to unite the nations that are around Ukraine, close to Ukraine, in the massive event, the heavyweight championship, the unified heavyweight championship. So regarding the negotiations, yesterday or day before yesterday, we called for the immediate purse bids. We still have time to find the solution, but we don't want to extend it that long. So we put the deadline, probably Monday morning, we will know from the WBA, which is the date for the purse bid. And if we do not manage to set a deal until the deadline, then we just go to the purse bid, we put a bid, we hope God helps us, we win, and we put an extraordinary show in Poland.
So let's say you win that fight. You're talking about Daniel Dubois there, obviously, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. So let's say you win that fight. As I said, I spoke to Amir Abdullah, and he knows his boxing. He's been around a long time. I've known Amir probably 20 years. And he knows that the big heavyweights probably need to fight in the summer as well, apart from outside this extraordinary talks about an event in Saudi Arabia, 2 events or 3 events or however it's going to work out. So do you envisage Oleksandr fighting for the undisputed title if he beats Daniel Dubois later on in the year in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, definitely yes. This is the game plan.
Yeah.
This is what we have in mind. and we would probably fight him earlier, but we need to comply with the rules with WBA, and we need to undergo
But
the
he also hasn't
mandatory
fought for a
defense.
year nearly.
Yep, almost. So he has to fight. And Daniel Dubois, everyone thinks he's like a very easy fight. I don't consider this fight to be easy, because the most difficult thing in boxing, in fighting, is the preparation.
Yeah.
And for Usyk, there is no difference who he's fighting. Is it Daniel Dubois or Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury? The training camp remains the same, and most of the power is lost. I mean, most of the force is lost while the kid is in a training camp.
Do you
My
think
daughter.
it's unrealistic?
Here's my daughter coming.
Hello. Can she see the baby? This is Vito, by the way.
Это Вито. Его зовут Вито. Все, давай, зайчик, я разговариваю.
Я вообще хочу воды.
Хорошо.
Хорошо. Do you think that it's unrealistic to get Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Oleksandr Usyk all in the same event in one night? Is that possible?
No, I think it is. I think it's possible. Nothing is
It's
impossible.
never been done before, is it? It's never been done.
Absolutely. But if you remember, Kinshasa,
The Rumble in the
capital of
Jungle.
Zaire.
Yeah.
Yes, Rumble in the Jungle. Has it ever been done? No. It was done only once, and it was such a difficult fight to make.
Yeah.
Rescheduling, getting money, things like that. And in a country like Congo, which is now Congo, and at that time was Zaire, that was almost impossible. But it took place, and it stays in the written with the golden letters in the history of boxing.
It's the most watched fight ever, I think, because of When We Were Kings, the movie, and all those things. It's probably the most watched fight ever.
Yes, probably yes. Thriller in Manila. This was the historical fight because the first time in the history of television, it was televised through satellite. It was broadcast through satellite. First time in the history of television. So it started from boxing, actually. Why not? This fight is something historical. Yeah. Yes, would I say it's very easy to make it? Definitely not. It's extremely complicated.
You have to build 4 dressing rooms for the 4 men, though. Do they have to have 4 different dressing rooms? Because I talk all the time about ego, timing, and money. I've lost you.
Yeah? Now you hear me well?
Ego, timing, and money with those 4 guys.
Let's talk about Anthony Joshua. Is he willing to fight in December?
Do you believe that Eddie Hearn and DAZN want to put Anthony Joshua in with Deontay Wilder?
Yes.
It's a 50-50 fight, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree.
It's very exciting, but it's a 50-50 fight.
Yeah. Yes, there is no favorite in this fight. No underdog and no favorite.
It's 50-50. Yeah.
I agree with you. If it goes the distance, I would bet on AJ.
I agree.
If it's inside, I think it's Wilder.
Yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't last more than 8 rounds, in my view. And it might be Joshua knocking out Wilder as well.
Exactly.
It's a very exciting fight. What upsets me is Wilder, Fury, Usyk, Joshua. I look back at the 4 kings, Duran, Hearns, Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard. They fought each other 7 times. Yeah, I think 9 times or 7 times. That's what we should be having in this era over the next 2 or 3 years. a golden age. I've just been speaking to George Foreman about his movie that's out, and they all fought each other. They all fought each other.
Lost one, but they did fight.
Yeah.
I can tell you, there won't be any obstacles from our side. This is what I can promise. And I've talked to Amer, I've talked to Prince Khalid, while we were thinking of putting this fight, discussing, considering whether it's possible or not. And I promise that Usyk team has always been and will probably always be the easiest team to deal with. So we stay this ground. There won't be any troubles with anyone to make an agreement with us unless it's a reasonable agreement.
But one of my 3 questions was, there's an interview out with you at the moment saying you think that Tyson Fury is being difficult in the negotiations. That's reported as
not just Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury and his representatives, including his lawyer, including his promoter. Everyone is complicated.
Why is it complicated? What's the complication?
I don't know.
Is it money? Is it timing? Is it ego?
I think timing. Well, timing probably not, but money and ego probably is at place.
Because at the moment, we have had so many promises of so many fights. And we all know that when the heavyweight division is strong, boxing is strong, you know?
True.
And if we don't make these fights happen, we will have missed something as mature adults in our era. This is our era.
Garrett, this is a sin, a big sin not to make it happen. This is disrespectful to the boxing fans. This is like very arrogant. Like you completely depend on the boxing fans. Every successful fighter is the product of the boxing fans. And if you at some point consider yourself on the top of the world, that everyone owes you, but you owe nothing to anyone, this is the time for you to go down.
Make it happen, please. All I can do is talk about it and write about it.
Garrett, I can promise you and boxing fans that anything possible that can be done to make it happen will be done from our side.
It's lovely to speak to you.
It's my pleasure.